Since June, the radical left's war on police has absolutely exploded. Groups like Black Lives Matter, March for Our Lives, and Antifa have been calling to defund the police, saying all police are racist and evil. Radical Democrats like Socialist Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have joined in with the calls to abolish all police departments. She has also been using her power and influence to push the false narrative that somehow all cops are racist, and that has violent thugs across America acting on her words. It is as if she is egging the violent behavior on. Over the weekend, a deranged lunatic in North Carolina severely beat a cop so bad he had to be airlifted to the hospital with a fractured eye socket. Take a listen as these disgusting bystanders laugh and mock the cop instead of intervening or helping.
Don't kill the man out here. Don't kill him 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 out here. The police scared as hell. He said, help me, y'all.
How disgusting is that to watch? The police scared as hell. How disgusting is it to think that we have Americans that can sit on the sidelines and watch an officer of the law get beat nearly to death and laugh about it? You want to talk about disgusting human beings? That is it right there. You help your fellow man. I don't care what color you are, black, white, whatever. You help people in need. You don't watch people beat up others. It is unbelievable. It is clear the lack of outrage from Joe Biden and his cronies in the Democratic Party amount to an equivalent of an approval of all of this. The Democrats and their hateful anti-cop rhetoric is responsible for this, and they know it. All right, on a brighter note, you may remember our next guest when he was standing for the flag and America at the Republican National Convention. He's also a congressional candidate in North Carolina's 11th district, and he plans to protect our police and take on the radical liberals in Congress who hate them. I want to welcome Madison Cawthorn to the program. Madison, great to have you on.
Grant, it's good to be here. I apologize if you see a scowl on my face watching that video you just played of those bystanders laughing as one of our officers of the law is being beaten bloody. Just infuriates me. These are men and women who, when the establishment Republican Party failed us to allow the rise of Black Lives Matter and this Marxist revolutionaries, the thin blue line did not fail us. They protected us. And that's why, as you said, I will always protect them and have their six.
Yeah, which is a good thing, and we need more like you in Congress as these radicals try to take over. Madison, I want to get to your personal story. I know you were in a car wreck. You are basically, what's the term? Are you paralyzed from the waist down? How does that work? But you still managed to stand during the convention and gain, God bless you, national attention like you wouldn't believe.
Affirmative, yeah. So I was in a terrible car accident when I was 18 years old. You know, I was very simply just on a road trip with a dear friend. I was taking a nap in the passenger seat, and for, whatever reason, and I can laugh about it now, but he thought it would have been better as a group activity. So he fell asleep behind the wheel, and we ran headlong into a concrete barricade around 70 miles an hour, and it radically changed my life forever. I didn't know at that time that, when I got into the car that, stepping into that vehicle would be the last step that I ever took. But, I wanted, when I spoke at the convention, and I'll tell you, it was so eerie because going on that stage, I knew I was speaking to 50 million people or more, but the auditorium was completely empty. And so when I went onto that stage, I knew that I wanted to show the American spirit, and that is one of strength. That is one of overcoming obstacles. But it's also one, that I'm not going to have hubris to say that, I can do this all on my own. I had my two brothers come beside me and help me up to my feet because I wanted to show that in this country, we lift one another up. We don't beat each other like we just saw this deranged man in my home state doing to this police officer.
Well, I'll tell you what's amazing about you, Madison, is not only the resolve to get through this horrible accident, but to end up going about doing what you're doing. And, it's interesting you mentioned a sense of humor. I know people that have been through the worst times in their life, and the people that end up getting the farthest from those tragic events are the ones with sense of humor. It's amazing to me that you have it. And now you're running for the United States Congress at a young age. How did you make the decision to do that?
Well, it all came down to one day, about, I would say it was a year and a half, maybe 2 years after my accident. And, obviously losing my ability to speak, having traumatic injuries all over my body, losing my physical capabilities. I had this sense of worthlessness, of hopelessness on myself. And I realized I was just living as a shell. And then I decided I was going to make a very decisive decision. And I was going to write down the pros and cons of living. And if the cons won out, I was just going to give up. But if the pros won out, I was going to say, you know what? To hell with being in a wheelchair. I'm going to live my life to the fullest of my ability. And that's what I decided to do. And the one pro that won out was the fact that I still had the opportunity to make a difference. And so, I just got engaged and looking forward to getting married. But as my fiance and I are talking about having children, I realize that we live in a country that is on fire. We live in a country where hatred and go ahead, brother.
Madison, I'll tell you, only because we're running out of time. I could do a whole show with you. There's no doubt about that. But you're an inspiration to everybody. You're in North Carolina. I know you've heard of the guy named Jim Valvano, and Jim Valvano had one of the greatest lines ever uttered. And he said, every day, ordinary people do extraordinary things. And not there's anything ordinary about you, but you're doing an extraordinary thing, and where you've come at such a young age, man, you are an inspiration. God bless you. You move on to victory, and then come on the show again for a little victory speech. Okay, Madison?
Grant, it's an honor, brother. Let's change this country for the better. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks. That is Madison Cawthorn. All right.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.